War in Europe, 1940. January 1940. The Finns have a major victory, destroying a Russian army division and capturing large numbers of vehicles. Rationing begins in Britain. A plane carrying German invasion plans crashes in Belgium. The Belgian authorities give the information to the British and French. February 1940. Having halted the Russian advance for 2 months, the Russians break through the Finnish Mannerheim line. Hitler orders unrestricted submarine warfare. Considered a breach of the rules of war under the 1930 London Naval Treaty, U-boats now attack merchant ships without warning. March 1940. Meat rationing starts. Meat will remain on ration until 1954, 9 years after the war ended. After fighting for 105 days, Finland signs a peace treaty with Russia. The Finns are forced to give up significant territory in exchange for peace. April 1940. Under the orders of Stalin, 22,000 Polish officers, policemen and educated people are massacred by the secret Soviet police. With Germany expected to invade Norway at any time, Britain and France intervened to support Norway and cut off iron ore going to Germany. Germany invaded Denmark. After 6 hours, Denmark surrenders. Also on the 9th of April 1940, Germany invades Norway. Germany sets up a pseudo-Norwegian government under former Minister of Defence Quisling. Following the war, Quisling would be convicted of high treason and shot. British destroyers successfully defeat a larger German naval force at Narvik. A second naval engagement would also be a British victory. British and French troops land in several places in Norway. Without command of the air, and with the threat of a German invasion of the Low Countries, Britain and France start pulling troops out of Norway. May 1940. Conscription in Britain extends to age 36. 10th of May 1940. Germany invades France, Belgium, Luxembourg and the Netherlands. Winston Churchill becomes Prime Minister. In an attempt to take Queen Wilhelmina and the Dutch government hostage, German paratroops attempt to seize The Hague. Fierce counterattacks by Dutch soldiers rout the German paratroops. The Belgians blow up all the bridges over the Meuse River to halt the German advance. German armoured corps breaks through the French lines at Sedan. The French believed the German army would not attack through the Ardennes. This area was protected by a poorly equipped territorial army. Queen Wilhelmina escapes to London to establish a Dutch government in exile. Only 3 days after becoming Prime Minister, Churchill gives his blood, toil, tears and sweat speech. The local defence volunteers, Home Guard, is created. Unable to take Rotterdam, the Germans bomb the city, causing many civilian deaths and tremendous damage. Holland surrenders. Churchill visits Paris, where he is dismayed to hear the French war is as good as over. As British and French soldiers fight a furious rearguard action, the evacuation of Allied troops from Dunkirk begins. The garrison at Calais is ordered to fight on. This is to divert the panzer divisions and give the BEF, who are still 60 miles from the coast, time to evacuate from Dunkirk. Supported by artillery and over 100 Stuka dive bombers, the Germans mounted sustained attacks on Calais. Exhausted, desperately short of ammunition and with casualties mounting, Calais surrenders. For most of the defenders, it was the beginning of 5 years in captivity. King Leopold of Belgium surrenders without consulting his cabinet, Britain or France, and leaving the BEF critically exposed. June 1940. June the 3rd, 1940 was the last day of Operation Dynamo. 338,226 British, French and Belgian troops had been evacuated. Winston Churchill delivers his "We shall fight on the beaches" speech. After fighting the Germans for 2 months, Norway surrenders. Italy declares war on France and Britain. Within hours of Mussolini declaring war on Britain, the first bombs drop on Malta and the siege of Malta begins. Requisitioned to evacuate troops, The British ocean liner Lancastria is bombed by the Luftwaffe. At Saint-Nazaire, France, she sank in 20 minutes with 7,000 casualties. 25th of June 1940, at 01:35 hours, France officially surrenders to Germany. Germany bombs the demilitarised British Channel Islands and 2 days later invades them. They were the only British territories to be occupied by Germany. July 1940. Following the fall of France, Hitler orders preparation for plans for Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of Britain. But before this was possible, he must first defeat the RAF. The French fleet, anchored in Algerian ports, cannot be allowed to fall into enemy hands. After negotiations failed and refusing to sail their ships to British ports, the Royal Navy opens fire on them and the French fleet is put out of action. Sadly, 1,297 French sailors are killed. 10th of July 1940, the Battle of Britain begins, with German planes attacking British shipping. The RAF are outnumbered. Germany had 1,300 fighter planes, Britain only 600. August 1940. 12th of August 1940, Eagle Day. In an attempt to destroy the RAF, Germany launches massive airstrikes on British airfields. Germany suffers severe losses of its bomber aircraft. Göring had promised Hitler air superiority. He declares cowardice amongst his fighter pilots and orders them to closely guard the bombers. Britain is producing fighter planes faster than they are being shot down. Germany is not. Churchill gives his speech. Never was so much owed by so few. German bombers, possibly off target, drop bombs on London. There is an immediate retaliation and 42 RAF aircraft bomb Berlin on the following night. Hitler is infuriated and shifted the target of his bombing away from RAF airfields and onto London. September 1940. The US gives Britain 50 obsolete World War I destroyers in exchange for 8 American bases in various British possessions. The Blitz on London begins. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 348 German bombers appear over London, dropping high explosive and incendiary bombs. Known as Black Saturday, London will be bombed for a further 57 nights. In an attempt to seize the Suez Canal, the Italian 10th Army invades Egypt from Libya. The Italians have 250,000 troops, the British 36,000. Germany launches a massive airstrike on Britain. 60 German aircraft are shot down. This convinces Hitler that he cannot achieve air supremacy over Britain. The 15th of September would forever come to be known as Battle of Britain Day. Without air supremacy, Hitler postpones Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of Britain. October 1940. German troops enter Romania to safeguard oil reserves and to prepare for the invasion of Russia. Italy invades Greece from Albania with 150,000 troops. A Greek counterattack pushes the Italians back beyond their starting line. November 1940. At Taranto, Italy, British torpedo bombers put the Italian fleet out of action in an attack which the Japanese would later imitate at Pearl Harbor. In a single night, the Italian fleet lost half of its capital ships. The balance of power swings to the British Mediterranean fleet. 400 German bombers attack Coventry, destroying the historic centre of the city, Coventry Cathedral, factories and homes, and leaving the people in a state of deep shock. Stalin agrees to join the tripartite pact and share the spoils of the British Empire, but Hitler's plans to invade Russia are too well advanced. Hungary joins the Axis powers, allowing German troops access to Romania and its oil fields. December 1940. The British begin Operation Compass, an offensive in North Africa against the Italians. The Italian defences are overrun, 3 Italian divisions destroyed, and the Italians forced to withdraw. The Italian casualties were 3,000 killed and 130,000 captured, with the loss of 400 tanks and 1,290 artillery pieces. At great sacrifice to themselves, the the Royal Navy had saved the army at Dunkirk, and the Royal Air Force had fought and won air supremacy over Britain. Alone now, with her Commonwealth, Britain lived to fight on against the tyranny of Hitler.